I reminisce about the love we had. I reminisce about the love we had. Tender moments seem to go so fast. Reminisce, reminisce. I reminisce about the love we had. I reminisce about the love we had. A love so strong it will never pass.
Love, Park, Connection.
Hey, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. So today I have my special guest, Miss Kimeko, and we are going to talk about knowing who you are and being confident in your relationship, especially as women. But before I get started, let me introduce myself. Welcome to Love Park Connection, where we talk about the pains and pleasures of life, love, and relationships. My name is Angela Parker.
Kimeko White.
And Pierre is not here today, but Pierre and I are a marriage and relationship coaching duo. We've been married for 28 years, together for over 30 years. And it's our goal to help couples love more, communicate more, and build healthy long-term relationships and marriages. So let's get started.
I love that.
Thank
She
you.
got a little bit more on me with the marriage years, because me and my husband are almost 23 years married.
23.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And what do you, because you look amazing. So
Thank you.
tell the folks what you do.
Some concealer.
No, I'm saying, what do you do to bring all that? It's flawless. So what do you do?
Well, I'm a makeup artist. I'm a
Yes.
beauty expert and celebrity makeup artist.
She says celebrity.
But I normally don't say that. I let everybody else toot my little, whatever. But yeah, I've been doing beauty for 17 plus years.
Nice.
Servicing the Bay Area, all of California, all different occasions, weddings, film productions, celebrity.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just wherever
you need it, huh?
Wherever I'm
Wherever
needed.
you need it. Okay. So when I asked you to be on here and talk about this particular topic, what was your first thought? Because we've talked about, doing a podcast, and we've talked about how uplifting women and so forth. So, give me.
First off, yes, because our conversation was like, okay, that was our shared goal, was to help women. Right. And on your part, and I think for me and my husband, although we're not face forward with any content, that's always our goal, to help couples too,
Right.
In whatever space we're in. So off top, I was just like, it's a yes, and then this whole subject, I was like, wow, this is something that is not touched on enough.
Right.
So I thought it's going to be a juicy conversation.
Yes.
And, having our experience being married for this amount of years, I think it's going to be beneficial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get started then.
Let's get into it.
So, how would you define knowing yourself in the context of your relationship? How would you define just knowing who you are in your relationship, and how does that help you be a better wife?
That's pretty complex, actually. And, I know myself from the time that I was young, right?
Okay.
My first, coming to know myself from a young age. I think about that, but I think about knowing myself today. So that's why I say it's complex. It's two different knowings.
Right.
I'm very comfortable with who I am today.
Okay.
But there's also things that help to build me from the time that I was young. But knowing myself, I really kind of go all the way back to my upbringing.
Okay.
My ways as a individual. Where did that stem from? Who imparted this into me, and how much of that do I want to keep? And
Right. Right.
So there's this building upon those things, but also this dissecting, like certain things, traits that I might have grown up under, as a young child. I don't want those things in my marriage.
Right. And you want to remove that.
Yeah. But knowing myself today, I've shed off a lot of things and become a new woman. But it's so important to know who you are, because in marriage, you do play a role. You play a part. And I believe that wives are there to be helpers. So
but that's just a word, right? I can tell you right now that you are called to be a helper,
Right.
but it's, again, complex. What does that include?
What is
How
that?
do I help? How do I be this nurturing woman that my husband needs and my family needs?
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you attribute to, the changes, from the time when you were younger to now? What are some of the things that help you change and grow and flourish?
Experiences. One.
Definitely.
Woo. Experiences will teach you a lot. And then my faith in God.
Okay.
Being a woman of God, I've had to spend a lot of time in the Word to know who I am.
Right.
And then around just women who I look up to,
Okay.
wise women. I think about my grandmother. She's in her 90s right now, and I like to sit under people and just soak up wisdom and knowledge. Like,
Right.
teach me. I don't want to assume that I have it all together, but those things, experiences, the people in my life that God has placed in my life,
Okay.
and then my faith. I got to dig into Scripture to understand, who am I? What's my purpose?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you. That was beautiful. I like that. So can you share some personal experiences or insights on how self-awareness has influenced your confidence in your relationship?
Hold on. Oh, influence my confidence in my relationship? The self-awareness. Yeah, having self-awareness positions you to be a healthy counterpart or not.
That's yes.
A healthy counterpart or not.
And that's the key word, healthy.
Right. What are you bringing into your relationship, your marriage? Where does it stem from? So, I have plenty of experiences. I think about when my kids were little and I was a stay-at-home mom and I was going through the getting my body back and things like that,
Right.
the insecurities that I had during that time. I think about walking through marriage for so many years and seeing glimpses of my mother in me.
Was that a positive or negative?
It was definitely a negative in a lot of ways. And I've had a lot of conversations with my husband. I've had a lot of conversations with myself about, how do I want to show up for my family?
Okay.
How do I want to show up in my marriage?
Okay.
So it's you have to have those real conversations and you have to be fully aware. And, being fully aware takes time. It's a process. It's not something that you have it all together in one setting.
No, it's a growth. It's definitely a growing. You have to grow into it. It's not something that automatically happens. Sometimes you have to sit and, like some folks will say, in scripture or do shadow work. There are different terminologies for it, but you have to sit with it and you have to really look. If you truly want to grow and change and be a better woman, you do have to sit with it and grow and deal with that pain sometimes.
And have those experiences that will make you run into a brick wall sometimes, and
or several brick
and
walls.
wake you up and you'll be like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? Who am I? And the tears are just running, who am I?
Yeah.
And then you have your kids that are watching too, so that's helped me to just be real about things. I want the best future for them. So that starts with me recognizing who I am and again, how I show up for my family. I'm willing to do the hard work. And to shed off things. A lot of people aren't today, though.
No, they don't. Because they want the superficial, because we have the social media. They're like, okay, well, that looks good, so I'm just gonna, I'm gonna, copy that. I'm not gonna do the real work. Because again, like we said, doing the real work, sometimes you got to face some stuff that demons or whatever you want to call it, that you don't want to face.
Right. And culture plays a large part in people just kind of sitting in their ways.
Yes. I'm just stuck in my ways. This is the way I am.
One of my pet peeves. one of my pet peeves. It's like, be better for yourself and your family.
Right.
You know, don't ride the wave with everything that culture tells you to do, because if you go behind, I've worked with celebrities, I've worked with a lot of VIPs. If you go behind those doors, what seems nice and sweet.
I bet you've seen. Oh, that's true. I bet you. Ooh,
you know,
we'll have to talk offline on that one. I want the juice.
Definitely. You know, be aware of yourself. And be willing to do the hard work, because time is short. It's you know, it comes and it goes. I think today I focus a lot on what kind of mark I want to leave.
Okay. And what is that?
Oh, it's complex. I want to leave. What my mother-in-law, I think, left for her family was just a sweet aroma, you know, a sweet trail of just love and hope too, you know. I don't know. She was the type of woman you just wanted to follow in her footsteps, because she just seemed at peace and confidence, you know, as a woman. She enjoyed life, you know, and I don't know. You just would have had to be in her surrounding to grab hold of that.
And that's been my word as of lately, just peace. Just being at peace with, you know, even when the world is just a hot mess, just being at peace in my home, within myself, with whatever I'm doing, but making sure what I am doing doesn't cause stress and strain. I mean, I know that's part of life, but really pulling back and saying, is this going to diminish my peace? And if it is, then I don't want to do it. Right. Just at that age.
And we've been there so many times, right? Like we've been in those moments where we're like, okay, I'm never doing that again. Right. I'm never allowing that again. And then we circle back to it. We circle back to it. And until we finally realize, hold on, let me give that the boot.
Right, like I'm doing the same. I'm doing the same things over again, and it's not working. So, how has your husband played a role in this growth process?
You know, as a man, a true man with integrity, as a man of God, he showers me with love and genuine love that goes beyond this superficial love that you know the world wants to. You know, somebody made mention before, you have this love first getting married or even pre-marriage, where it's just like, it's so like you're on clouds,
right? The honeymoon phase.
Yeah, and then you have that love that is just like, I see that in you. It's, you know, but I'm gonna look beyond that. I'm gonna envision you in your future. So he does that for me. He sees the best of me, even when I'm not presenting that, you know, enough to just encourage me, you know, help me, like I said, shed off some things and become, I mean, we encourage each other, you know, back and forth, and I'll go, you know, you've got great potential. You do too. And how do we get there? You know, but no, very, very loving, and love, you know, is displayed in a variety of ways. Right. A variety of ways, but for the most part, he's my biggest fan. You know, even when it comes to me being an entrepreneur, you know, he's like, "Oh, get it, baby." He's the one. Like, if we're in the company of other people, she's a celebrity makeup artist. You know? I'm like, shh. But and you know, that has taken years to just maintain. I don't think, if you are really in love with each other, it doesn't go anywhere, but it does need to be maintained.
It needs to be nurtured. It does need to be nurtured. It doesn't just, especially when you have that length and, you know, that time behind you, that history behind you. It sometimes there'll be some good days, some really like, oh my gosh, you know, what am I doing? And then sometimes those days can turn into months where you're going, okay, what's going on? And you have to make that conscious effort. And a lot of people, I don't believe in relationships, want to make that conscious effort and that commitment and that time, and realizing that sometimes you're going to be deep in that valley, and it's going to take it's going to take some clawing and scratching to get out from that.
Where are we going right now with this?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where are we going right now with this? Because I feel like I've been married for like 40 years, but again, only almost 23.
Yeah.
We've seen so many people get married, and after 1 year, I'm done with you. Right. And it's not a matter of an abusive situation or, anything worthy of divorce, right?
Right.
And I want to say to couples, like, stop giving up.
Right.
Why are you giving up?
Why did you get married to begin with then, if you're not going to take it seriously?
Is it just supposed to be peaches and cream all the time? Or is this, look at it as a opportunity to grow. And I think that's what marriage is.
Yes.
We're there to grow one another, build each other up. And like I said, shed off things. Relationships in general, I believe that God, He created them to benefit one another. Mm-hmm. So whether that's a mother to a child or a grandparent or, the relationships that we have through and through are there to build us up. And if they're not, you gotta, sometimes you do have to cut things off, but not your husband and not your spouse. You have to step back sometimes and realize that the tension is being caused because there's an opportunity for change.
Okay.
It's real. Tension comes, and tension usually exposes things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And it's like, okay, this is an opportunity for you to man up or woman up and be better. We often say, okay, I'm not going to be like my mom and my dad, or I'm not going to let those generational things come about in my life. But it does creep up subtly,
it does.
So when you hit that wall of tension, work with each other. Yeah. I call it grace to grow.
Okay.
Grace to grow. Looking at each other and saying, you know what, we're going to get through this. Yeah. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect, but let's remember our goals that we set, to be better for one another, but also for our family. Also for the people around us. Right. If it's even just showing a sister or brother what a healthy marriage looks like. Right. Because I have a brother right now. I'm praying that he gets married. Let me stop. Some people are afraid to get married because they're looking at the examples around them. Right. Yeah.
And you said a key word to me is our, because when you're in a marriage, it is a team effort. It's one person cannot carry that marriage. You both have to be willing to make those sacrifices and to sometimes have those hard conversations. Yes. But it's team. I can't make my marriage flourish and grow without the help of Pierre and vice versa. So.
And and culture today, and we see it even among celebrity marriages, it's like, if he's telling me too much, I can't do this and be like this, and maybe he's not for me. Right. Well, maybe he sees something that you don't see, and maybe he sees your greater potential, and you just want to go out there and floozy about. Stop. Listen, don't be a wild child. Stay at home. Nurture your marriage. Don't be running off with them friends that ain't even married, and
Right. And that's another thing. Yeah, your friends. You have to pick and choose who your friends are. And some of us have friends that we've known for years, and but even then I believe that you can still nurture those friendships. Absolutely. But you also have to remember that, hey, if she wants to go or he wants to go do that, you know what? We had a great time. We was hanging out. You want to go to the strip club or whatever, I'm going to go on home.
Absolutely.
You still keep those friends, but you have to also know your weaknesses and you have to know your boundaries.
Right there. So, and we talked about boundaries before. I think that is so important to have.
Right.
Just recently, I was invited to a party, and I thought, okay, this would be cool. Me and my husband can go and show up, and and just have a good date night or something.
Right.
And we ended up not going. But when I looked back and I saw, what was actually happening at the party, I said, ooh, that actually wouldn't have been a good environment for us.
Oh, okay.
Because you do have to know, you just made a point a moment ago, knowing your, let's just say your levels of challenge in your marriage.
Yeah.
If your husband has a problem with, looking at women, don't step into a club with them.
Right.
You're going to go home with issues.
Right.
You know, and
exactly.
then that's another, you got to keep on working that out, you know,
do.
And vice versa. If I have an issue with my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm not going to put myself in a certain position to be so challenged. You know, I think in marriage, we have to think more of our spouses than we do ourselves at times.
At times, right.
At times, you know, and, you know, we learned it from a child state. Treat others as you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
If I don't want him doing X, Y, Z, then why would I do it?
Why would you do it? Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, how do you distinguish between healthy self-confidence and overconfidence or arrogance in a relationship?
Healthy self-confidence, overconfidence. Let's just put it this way. I'm a discerning woman. And I wouldn't say that I necessarily prayed for that, but I think it's a really great trait to have as a wife.
Okay.
A level of discernment to know, okay, if he's talking this way with other people, if he's dressing this way, where does it stem from? Does it stem from a pure heart? Right? So healthy self-confidence comes with a purity, you know, about that individual. They're not trying to stunt too much, you know. Like you can stunt together, you know what I'm saying? You can, you know, because you both are a beautiful couple and we're a beautiful couple. Yes. We like to, you know, look good when we step out.
Right.
But how much attention are you drawing to yourself versus your marriage? Like when we step out, we're about looking good together.
Right.
We're about, you know, shining as a couple.
Right.
I think where it becomes a negative, like just off the Richter, is when he's like, okay, I'm about to, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And the idea, whether it's the husband or the wife,
right,
is to stunt by themselves.
Okay.
And to draw attention to themselves.
Yeah.
Forgetting for a moment that they are in a covenant, in a marriage, that has much more to be highlighted than just, you know, because I think, you have a lot of people that are into being fit. Right. And you should be fit and healthy.
Right.
But my thing is when people become fit and they're like, I'm about to pop off.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, y'all, for the barking. If you hear in the background, my dog's trying to.
They're so cute.
So sorry about that.
They're like, we got a new friend over here. We're trying to get to know her. But no, I think a healthy confidence stems from the heart. You have to know yourself. I did a lot of self evaluation.
Okay.
I think we talked about this too. That healthy self-confidence, you have to recognize the fruit that it produces.
Right.
It will show up. It will be exposed. You know, what trails along after that. I was at a point where my confidence on the inside was low, but I was portraying this high confidence that to me was attracting the wrong attention. Okay. As a wife.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I didn't see it.
Right.
You know, but yeah, overconfidence. Again, it will show that fruit. It will show that fruit. So what does that look like really? If I step out and I'm overconfident and it's all about me, I'm going to come home and I'm going to treat my husband like it's all about me too, in a negative type of way. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha,
Like, you need to be showing up like this and you need to be doing this and that, you know.
And you hear women that do that, you know, I've heard men say that. And it's like, okay, well, you know, I'm not sure if that was their wife or girlfriend or whatever, but you're right. You come home with a different kind of attitude.
So, you know, you have to discern and you have to judge the fruit. How does it leave you feeling?
Okay. So
how do I leave him feeling if I am showing up with healthy self-confidence?
Right.
Is he feeling good about that? You got a lot of people that's out here getting these BBLs and
right.
Did I say it right? You know, a lot of people having surgeries done even in marriage, but their goal, their real intent is to look good for themselves and to draw that attention to themselves. But you married though. Right. Why are you trying to draw the attention of another woman or another man right. and you're married?
Because I'm gonna have to say, I don't think if you're doing whatever type of surgery, I don't believe going in overboard, but whatever you're doing if you're doing it, yes, for yourself, but you're not necessarily saying, I'm doing it because I want to draw the attention. I'm doing it because when I look in the mirror, I want to feel good about me.
Right.
So there is that, like when we walk out the door, we put on our makeup, we comb our hair, we want to smell good, look good. But are we doing that for self?
Right.
Just because you want to feel good about self when you walk out that door? Right. Or are you trying to attract the attention of other people?
Yeah. And I think that as couples, there's a certain level of substance that should be kept at home.
You're right. Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to go there for a second, right?
No, because you're right. Yeah.
At the end of the day, what you do is either going to attract healthy or non-healthy.
Right.
And we're aiming for long-lasting relationships.
Yes.
Long-lasting marriages.
Healthy relationships.
Yeah. I've done a lot of observation over the years. I can speak from experience, but I also speak from observation. The marriages that I've seen that have fallen have been the marriages where there was someone in the marriage, individual or both, that were prideful.
Okay.
I think about people that have those type of work done, to their body, and that's good. That's good. But then what do most people do? If they're on social media, they're going on social media and they're showing it all off. Yes. Now you're attracting the wrong attention. Now you're putting yourself out there as if you're a single woman or man.
Right.
And now you are inviting insecurity for your spouse.
Right.
That's a heavy subject right there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So how does self-awareness and confidence impact the dynamics of a romantic partnership or romance in your marriage, in your relationship?
Okay. You're looking at a mother of 3. My children
looking fabulous.
Thank you. 22, 20, and 18. And I remember, like I said, when I was a young mother and struggling with, just looking at my body, and I was comparing my body to what I saw in publicity and on social media. And, I began to lose my confidence. I'm like, do I have to show up like that?
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, that's going to be kind of hard to achieve. I don't look like this and that and that.
Right.
And that can really create a lot of issues in intimacy, and so I had to feel good about myself. I remember.
Did you start working out or did you start?
Okay, so nursing mothers know when you nurse, you start losing a lot of body mass or whatever. And so I told myself, okay, I'm gonna do XYZ to make sure I get back, And my husband never complained.
Okay.
Never complained. Yeah. I don't think husbands should do that to wives.
No, because they have not carried a full human being in their bodies.
Right.
And your body changes, period. I mean, usually the first one, you can maybe bounce back, but after the second and third, your body is not going to be the same for the most part unless you have all the surgeries or you have a professional chef coming into your house or something. But so no, I agree. Men should not complain.
Yeah, my husband never complained. He always, maybe you look great, don't worry about it. You look great, and that really helped me a lot. But I do recall a time when, it just sucks. Publicity and entertainment, the industry, how it portrays their image of women.
Yes.
Causes a lot of women who are insecure and vulnerable to compare themselves to that. It makes them, have low self-esteem. For some women, they become depressed and,
eating disorders.
And all of that. And so for a moment in time, I found myself kind of going there and I had to remind myself and even with the accompany of his words, you're beautiful.
Yeah. As
is. But there were certain things I did. I was just like, okay, I'm not going down like that. I'm still young. I'm not going down like that. you have to feel good about yourself for
Right.
yourself.
Right.
You know, I think first, and then you can offer to your spouse the highest level of confidence, you know, even in intimacy, you know. So whether you are a size 0 or a size 12, you know,
Right.
you should have a level of confidence.
Exactly. Exactly. So you want to go back to the other question? Because this will be our final question. You want to go back to the other one?
Yes. Let me say it one more time. No, hold on.
Okay. So where was it? How can knowing yourself contribute to a healthier communication and conflict resolution in a relationship?
Well, you know, you really better know yourself. Don't drag a lot of garbage into your marriage, and if it does show up, be willing to do the hard work.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's going to cause conflict. Look at where it's stemming from. Like I said, a lot stemmed from how I watched my mom and observed my mom.
Okay.
Right? If I know that produced bad fruit, I don't want to repeat those things.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and a lot of people say, I'm not the same.
Right. We all do.
I'm
We
different,
all do.
you know? And then you have to just watch the fruit. Okay. You know, and your spouse will let you know.
Oh, yeah.
You said you wasn't.
Right.
But
I tell Peter that all the time. I said, look now, you starting to become your dad. I need you, you know. And actually, he's becoming his dad when his dad was younger. His dad now has mellowed out.
Yes.
He's just cool dude. But I have to remind him, say, okay, now we're not going to have that. So, you know.
Yeah, my mom, love you, Mom. But she's a hot piece of work. She's soft on the inside, but she is the type, she has no filter, you know?
Okay.
And so that in almost all of her relationships created a lot of conflict.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know, and, you know, it probably showed up in my life by a 3% range, but that was enough.
That was,
you know,
for you to say, okay, I need to make this change. I need to do something different. Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, I had times where I would cry about, you know, my relationship with my mom. And then I snapped out of it when I was, and actually with my husband coming to me and say, don't let that get to you.
Oh, okay.
Don't let that change you.
Right.
You know, and that was very encouraging and allowed me to just kind of pivot, you know, so that I can be who I'm meant to be.
Yes.
Not my mom,
Right.
not nobody else, but
Right.
who I'm meant to be.
Okay.
I want to show up as the best person I can be for my husband,
Right.
you know, and avoid conflict, because you have to live with them for a long enough time. If that's your lifelong partner,
Yeah, exactly.
you don't want to live a lifelong of misery.
Right.
You want to make life good for each other. That was one thing we told each other at one point.
Yeah.
Let's make life good for each other.
Exactly.
You know,
Goes back to that peace. You just want peace. Just want peace.
You see the older couples, the elderly couples with their little gray hair and holding hands
Yeah,
and stuff like
I
that,
know.
walk in the park and everything, and you want to be that, but how did they come to be that? I talk to my grandparents all the time, like, how, you know, and you know, they're God-fearing one, you know, they're people of faith. That's where our faith, that's where our peace stems from.
Yeah.
But there's also having those real conversations,
Right.
you know, getting at each other sometimes with loving correction,
Right.
you know, to dissolve as
Right.
much conflict. And like I said, you know, it's gonna come. Folks that want to stay married, it's going to come.
But it takes work.
And if you want to have a long-lasting relationship, do the work and get through it together. Don't just give up on your marriage.
Right. And even if, because I'll have to go back to this, because I know we talked about this, even if you're not in the church and you don't necessarily focus on, you know, the Bible and church, you have to find whatever that is that will bring you that level of peace, whatever it's going to take to create a fortress around your relationship, because everybody might not be going to church or, you know, studying the Bible, but you have to find that higher power, whatever that higher power is in your home.
Absolutely.
And use it to strengthen your relationship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm one, I believe in, you know, having wisdom.
Wisdom.
Wisdom alone will carry you through a lot of dark hours, and also sitting down with couples who have some experience.
Yeah.
Sitting down, not just with couples that are at your same, level. If I've got 10 years of marriage, I sit down with you, you got 10, there may be a level of experience and wisdom there to help each other. But I'm like, let's go sit down with some old people.
Right.
That's still together.
That's still together. Right.
In their gray hair days, and really just sit and listen, to wisdom.
Yes.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, I think that's going to be, thank you so much. This is gorgeous. I love it. I love it. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Miss Kimeko. I really enjoyed having you here and you taking your time. Yeah, and you coming in, just talking to me and talking to us about, just being confident as a woman and how that confidence is going to carry over into your relationship. Again, good confidence, not arrogance, but good confidence carrying into your relationship. And then that, builds a stronger relationship, builds a stronger home, builds a stronger family, builds a stronger community.
Yes.
So we have to remember that. So thank you guys again. I always forget to say, please like, share, and subscribe. You can get my book. I always tell about my book, 30 Years and Counting. It is on my website, loveparkconnection.com. So please pick up my book. And I think that's it.
And do your marriage together.
Yes.
Do it together.
Do it together.
Be each other's ride or die.
Exactly. Yep. That's up here, and I'm ride or die, ride or die. Right. Bonnie and Clyde.
Yes. Yes.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And Pierre and I will see you again soon. Bye.